Good morning, get ready to feast your eyes on some fabulous food because this is Saturday Kitchen Live. Welcome to the show. Today I'm joined by Trina Hanlon, Gary Hanlon and Ollie Smith, and as a special treat we've got a Welsh male voiced choir coming in the studio because it was St David's Day yesterday, which is very exciting, and will buy me brownie points in the pub later on tonight. Alan, you owe me a drink. Trina, lovely to have you here. You haven't been on the show for a while, have you?
No, it's a couple of years. I'm so glad to be back.
And you've got some food from Copenhagen, right?
Yes, we're going to do smørrebrød, which is open sandwiches on rye bread.
Okay, and that's a Scandinavian sort of...
Yeah, that's very traditional Danish.
Okay, we've got two different types there, haven't we? We've got, so what's that, fish cakes?
Yeah, we've got fish cakes with remoulade, and then we have boiled potatoes with fried onions and mayonnaise.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very carb heavy, like that. Gary, nice to have you. Now, you from Ireland. You haven't got one restaurant, you're in charge of 90.
Yeah, there's a lot, we're a big company,
And you're the culinary director?
Yeah, back to story,
Okay, brilliant. And what have you got for us today?
Yes, I'm going to do a lovely little marinated chicken dish with some gabine chorizo that we're going to spice up with a little bit of candied spice walnut and a little fancy Mornay sauce using Parmesan.
It's very pretty, very kind of like spring-like.
Spring-like, and some petit pois in there as well, because I like a wee frozen pea, actually.
Yeah,
well, we're not quite in pea season yet.
Well, frozen peas, to my mind, are always the best anyway.
Always better,
Anyway, talk about that a bit later. All right, let's get on with the cooking. Gary, come on. What are we up to?
Yeah, so we're going to do a lovely little marinated chicken dish, okay?
Yep.
So we're going to do that with a little gabine chorizo from West Cork and Ireland.
You want this diced as well?
Yeah, so we're going to dice that up nice and fine. Start that then from a cold pan. I'm going to get you to render out the fat basically, and then I'm going to do something with the walnuts, and that's what's going to bring it back, and it's going to bind it all back together for us, okay?
And the cold pan, for what reason, Gary?
Yeah, well, I think whenever, if you're trying to render out the fat, you start it like a colder pan because it's less harsh. Once you put it in and it's hot, you're getting a seal too quick, actually, and then you're just not going to, you're going to have fat then within it.
Sure.
And
so you want the crispiness, but you don't want the fat?
I want the crispiness and I don't want the fat. No, there's going to be a tiny little element, obviously, sticking onto it and what have you, but then that's what's going to help the walnuts stick into that then at that point. So
we touched on it earlier, but you are the culinary director in Ireland for up to 90 restaurants, is that right?
Yeah, and hopefully growing. Yes, so I'm culinary director, Back to Story Ireland, So it's a food service provider in business and industry, and we have all types of businesses from, big companies, schools. We're very proud of our schools division. We've got a good few of them here and there. So again, it's kind of that, the majority of it is that Monday to Friday diner, you know what I mean, breakfast, lunch, and then obviously, of course, you would have fine dining and as well within that, and we would provide full service there.
Because you've got a fine dining background, haven't you?
Yeah, I suppose most of my career, it's been like between the US and Ireland has been fine dining, but I think, with us, like the way people now have travelled the world, they go here and there, like people's standards are growing all the time, getting more demanding, whatever. Just I suppose that Monday to Friday diner is a lot more about the body, about the well-being, and looking after themselves. I suppose the one thing that I found when it came to the white tablecloth fine dining customer is, they let down their guard then, they want to enjoy themselves. So you kind of have that high flavour, different. And the one thing as well with us at Baxter Story is a lot of places you have the same customer, so you've got to be very innovative all the time. So our development teams in the UK and in Ireland will be working all the time on new concepts and different things. So it's really cool, like that you could have a mad street food market someday. And
it's interesting because the whole kind of mass catering, if I can call it that, has just come on leaps and bounds, isn't it, in the last 20 years?
Yeah, big time, and that's the thing, and just what you said there, that's what we're trying to eradicate, is that thought, I suppose, from chefs that have been in the fine environment for years and years, like we have our own chef academy, like Rick Razza does a brilliant job for us here, developing programs that we put in. Our first team from Ireland are going to graduate actually on the 19th of May, so we're really, really proud of that end of things, you know what I mean? That we're encouraging, look, today's kitchen porter is tomorrow's culinary director, you know what I mean? And we want to keep our people push them all the way through, and then encourage more people to come from that fine dining background and environment, and then driving standard all the time is what we want, you know.
Right. So have we talked about this? We got
So in here, walnuts just dry roasted in the pan, okay, and then what I do is I add a little bit of brown sugar.
Yep.
And Chinese 5 spice, which seems like a bit of an odd combo for a mornay as well, whatever. But this works really, really well. I just start that there, and then I'm going to stick this into the oven at 200 degrees.
Okay.
And you just basically at 200 degrees that takes like about 12 to 14 minutes. But every 2 or 3 minutes, you just want to give it a wee sort of a turn and a mix, and basically the water that you get in there basically sort of caramelizes, and then you give it about an hour or two after it comes out. Once it cools down, it'll crystallize. Gives you this right here, which I'm going to get you to muddle that down into a bit of a powder, like just like a coarse salt almost, and that's going to become a binder for us.
Okay, and that's what I'm going to mix with this diced roasted pepper and chorizo, yeah?
Yeah. So basically, then once you've got your rendered chorizo, you're going to feed it then with the fire roasted pepper that we done earlier. Just fire roasted pepper, open flame, and get it charred all the way over into a bowl. Cling film over it, as you know, and that just creates a steam, helps you get the skin off.
Okay.
And then so that you're just going to feed it, going to bring it together. I mean, the more walnuts you'll bring in, the drier it get. I mean, if you want to be fancy and you want to quenelle it, I don't. I kind of just want to have it that it's like I'm just going to sprinkle it loose around it. Yeah. So.
Now, for people like me who are thinking you're terribly relaxed on TV, you actually do quite a lot in Ireland, don't you?
Yeah. I do a good bit, yeah. So, look, different daytime stuff, and then radio as well, but then a show with Marco, Pierre White. Yeah, I think you made a work with him as well.
Yes, I have. Bit, right? Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
And what do you do with him?
Yeah, so we do a show called The Restaurant. And it's been going for many, many years. I just joined it about 6 or 7 years ago. I think it could be going, maybe 13 or 14 years back there. So celebrity becomes the head chef for the day. We do a full service restaurant. Basically, Stevie, Louise and myself, 3 chefs in the kitchen. And then about 60 people come to have dinner. Right. And Marco would be, Marco's a resident critic. So he sits on a table, which suits him just nicely. Brilliant. And then Rachel Allen, I think she's a friend of the show as well. Yeah, Rachel joined the show last year, and she was amazing. And she'll be back this year. So yeah, I just got word yesterday actually that we're back doing it this year again.
We were talking about it before, but I mean, when you talk about Marco, the guy's got an incredible palate.
Yeah,
and slightly terrifying.
And well, that's the thing. Like, I always remember the first day, like the Marco rolled in, and I was just sitting there, sort of having lunch, and Marco just came in. He was being interviewed, and he sat down in front of me, and I was, trying to stay cool and keep myself together. I'm like, oh my God, I'm having lunch with Marco Pierre White. Didn't even matter that we're on the same show, because I just felt so. It was great, And Stevie and Louise and I were just looking at each other, going, keep it all together. You know what I mean? But we'd be in there cooking during the day. So obviously Marco and that wouldn't be privy at all to what we're putting in, and even the slightest little ingredient that we'd be adding to dishes, like Marco would be picking it up, and it just, there'd be times we'd be looking at each other going, God, like, how did he find even the tiniest little spice and that, even if it was very, very slight, he would find it. He would find it. There's no doubt about it, So
look, let's talk about this cheese sauce.
So the cheese sauce, right, what I do there, it's a bit of a fancy mornay. So 6 egg yolks, 50 grams of Parmesan, 50 grams of cream, a little bit of salt, white pepper, 7 minutes, 70 degrees, speed 5, and it's ready.
And so for people who don't have to have one of these fancy mixes at home, what would you do?
Look, basically, I would just take a little shallot, saute it in a pan, sweat it off just without too much colour, deglaze with a little bit of wine, a little bit of white wine, bring that down, add the cream, and then a little hit of lemon juice, salt and pepper, and then just finish it. Just keep feeding it then with some grated Parmesan cheese until you get your consistency. So yeah, perfectly fine as well, just like that. And then on with a little bit of the Parmesan Mornay.
And you do a lot with kids in schools, don't you?
Yeah.
Incredible Edibles, is that?
Incredible Edibles, yeah. I just did a bit just this week gone by. So about 1,500 schools with Board Bia and Agri Aware in Ireland got these packs to grow and so different ingredients this year. So I did a little thing with them this week, and we go around schools all around Ireland just to encourage. My own wife as a teacher, and you know, I would often have gone into her school, my own old school, which is always nice to go back to from time to time. And look, it's just to try and bring education. I think food subjects should be in the schools anyway.
So do I. I mean, and I think at that age, it's particularly important, isn't it? So if you grow up with food, you're more likely
and I think I grew up in an agricultural background. We always grew stuff or whatever it was. I mean, as a chef, you buy like that, and that's how you're taking it on, you know. But I think nowadays we're getting a little bit detached again from it. So it's lovely, I suppose, in Ireland, the government really does get in behind it, get the kids going, and, you know, get the interest early, because I know I need a lot of chefs that backs the story. So if they start young, in 15, 20 years' time, we're going to have a whole
They can create food like this, which looks amazing, by the way.
Beautiful.
And what do you call it?
Marinated chicken, Parmesan Mornay, Gabin chorizo, and some petit pois.
It's a triumph.
Love it, man.
Right, let's go. Ready for your main course?
This is my main.
A hot main meal. Right, tuck into that, Scott. Oh, I mean, you've really made it look incredibly easy, but that sauce is easy to do at home, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is easy. I mean, even if you don't have the Thermomix, I mean, really just like a hot pan, sweating off, tiny little bit of oil, a little bit of shallot, white wine reduce, cream reduce, and hit it with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And you know, you don't need to go through the whole butter, flour, roux way. You just do a little pan sauce. If it's 1 or 2 chicken breasts,
and that keeps it super light as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, a lovely little spring dish.
Delicious.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah, I mean the chicken is particularly delicious.
And I definitely need a little drink of this now. I'm talking so much.
This show's hilarious. It's 11 o'clock.
And it's all above board as well. Isn't that brilliant? Oh, what have we got?
We have Salsa Chenin Blanc. I did cook this at home actually this week, as I always do.
Can we have a look at that? Have we got Ollie's? There we go.
Oh,
Ollie, that looks amazing.
Ollie, you're trying to show me up.
Same plate though, Ollie.
Yeah,
You've only got one plate.
I've only got the one plate.
Do you live alone, Ollie?
No, I'm just a normal human being.
Have they all left you?
No. This is Salsa Chenin
You
Blanc
have one
from
mug
South
and you have one
Africa.
plate.
It's old bush vines, lots of intense complexity, great flavour. And when you're making a wine, it's a bit like a kind of a producer at a mixing desk. You've got the elements of the band in there. You can either interfere a lot or you can leave alone. They've used old oak here, which gives texture to go with the Mornay, that creamy texture. And it's a Moorishness that I just think in this kind of wine for £9 is really delivering the goods.
£9?
£9, and they've been making wine on that site since 1695. It goes way back.
That's really good.
I'm pleased with that.
You visited them, you said?
I have actually. Salsa, it's a wonderful estate in Stellenbosch. If you get the chance to go out there, South Africa at the moment, amazing. So many boutique wineries.
Very nice, very nice. Thanks for that.
Cheers, Gary.
Right, time now to catch up with Tom Kerridge, and he's